right now, mortgage rates have hit their highest point since 2000.
Yeah.
So in 23 years, we are at the very highest. So think about all the first-time home buyers that are, 25, 30 years old. They've never seen anything like this in their life. So basically, the rate set off a dozen different records since 2020, where it was at the record lows. And prices, because the mortgage rates were so low back in 2020, the prices of homes rose 40%. And now things are actually shifting, and it's creating something called golden handcuffs.
Yes.
With potential sellers. So explain to everyone what golden handcuffs are.
Well, what's happened is about 90% of the loans in America, the mortgages in America, we don't have a mortgage problem on homes today. It's kind of a reverse problem. Now, about 90% of all the mortgages in America are under 4.5%. 50% of them are under 4%, and like 35% of them are under 3%. Full term, 30 years.
Yeah.
So this is why so many people went and borrowed money on their homes, because the rate was so low, right? It was like, okay, shit, the money's free, basically.
Yeah, now, probably a lot of people refinanced during this era also.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And so, like, I got a buddy, he owes $4 million on a house at 2.8% for 30 years. Dude, he's never going to pay the house off. It doesn't even make sense for him to sell it. Like, the loan could be worth as much money as the house, because for somebody to buy that house, they would be at 8 points. They would be 6 points higher than his money. And so he's going to be better off. He wants to sell, by the way. I said, don't sell it, dude. Rent it. Keep your mortgage at 2.8. Finance it to the next guy. Like, just finance it to him at 6%. Saves him 2 points over Bank of America. You basically make 3.2% on $4 million. You're making money on the interest. You're making money on the basically what looks like a tenant. And you're not paying taxes except on the portion that he pays you back. So if the guy misses a note, you just take it back, keep the down payment, and move on down the road. It's almost like a rental, where the individuals will become banks, basically, and or landlords, and not knowingly. They didn't even know they were going to do that. So,
because right now, mortgage demand for home buyers is at a 28-year low. 28 years.
Yeah.
So nobody's getting a mortgage right now. So what's that happening on the macro level?
So what happens is, if I can't, first of all, I don't have the 20% down. The price of homes has not come down. I said the housing, when you and I met in 2020, I said the housing market would not crash. Okay. I thought that there would be devastation in the marketplace, but it wasn't going to be housing. Okay. Because people got to have a place to live, period. And we have a shortage of about 4 million homes in America. And there's probably another 40 million homes in America that nobody actually wants to live in. They're old homes that need to be redone. They're from the 1950s and 60s. And your kids don't want to move into that house because it makes it feels like your grandmother's house. It's just not desirable. It's not the neighborhood. It's not cool. It doesn't have society around. It might not have, the social aspects or a good location. It's outdated, basically. So you got a shortage of homes, a shortage of inventory. You got a customer, an individual that does not qualify for the mortgage. You got prices sitting up here at 500 grand because they were inflated because of all this printing of free money. Some people suggest these homes could actually be more expensive than they are right now. Like, if you go to other parts of the world, Sydney, Australia, you go to the UK, you go, where else could you go? To Dubai, and you're gonna be like, shit, housing in America is still pretty cheap. Come down to Miami. Like, Miami we didn't know we were going to get all these people to come down here to make Ron DeSantis look like a genius. I mean, this is the one thing that Ron keeps out of his pitch, right? I mean, he benefited from COVID. Him in Texas, Abbott, benefited from COVID as governors. Period. End of story. Full stop.
Yeah, because of the population that moved into those states.
They had nothing to do with that. They were just like, hey, we're open for business. That was good. It's because the people down here weren't going to close anyway, and the people in Texas weren't going to close. So they just kind of took a knee to the people. And New York, New Jersey, Connecticut all flooded down here and said, hey, I'm going to go live in Miami permanently. And what that did was there's no housing stock down here anyway. And all those people came down here. They want to live in new stuff. They're used to big, tall glass buildings, great amenities, good air condition, updated stuff. So they came down here in supposedly inflated things. They didn't actually inflate anything. They brought things back to, in my mind, they brought things to their right value. That Miami, for instance, Miami and Fort Lauderdale or Naples, Florida, the West Coast over there, Fort Myers and Sarasota have just been kind of missed super opportunities, undervalued properties that now everybody in the local feels like they're inflated. But the locals always say that, Vlad.
Right.
The local people never properly value where they live. It's always an outsider that comes in from California and says, hey, I'll give you $35 million for your house. And everybody's like, what the hell just happened? Because he left a place where that house would be $80 million. So it looks like a steal to him.